Hi guys! Hope you're well. So the day today is Tuesday, and I had a little cook up with Buddy yesterday, and it seemed to get some nice feedback. I think that's lovely. Always great cooking with kids. And with the new book coming out, it comes out on the 22nd of August. So thanks to all the guys that pre-ordered it. I thought what I'll try and do is cook something from the book every single day. I'll try and do it wherever I am. So there's some interesting weeks coming up because I'm in some slightly weird and wonderful places, but we'll have a go. Today I flipped through the book, and look, on the book, if I can just take, so here, if you look at the contents, I'm going to have a little look on the tray bakes. One of the chapters here is soups and sarnies. So if I go to that, you're going to see a whole bunch of different expressions of this. I'm going to do a sarnie today, so there's that soup is outrageous. You can see that's a mushroom shawarma, so a different kind of sandwich. Got some lovely soups. Look at that, come on. So we are going to do super simple salad. Looks really, the soup looks really impressive. So I'm going to do this Greek-inspired toasty. Oh, come on, Eileen. So it's basically a Greek-style toasty. I've just kind of made it up with the flavours of Greece that I just love. I love Greece. Thus, I am going to cook this for you. It's nearly lunchtime, and I just think, look, what I've tried to express in the book is that it's, look, we love sandwiches, but they don't have to be boring. And we're going to get some nice bread. Of course, we can just do a lovely cheese toasty. We all know we can do that, right? But also we can have some fun, and we can put some care. So I've got a few little tips that I think guarantee pleasure. And I also think that some of the simplest things in life are the most beautiful if you can put a bit of love and care into it. So let me show you this. I think you're going to love it, okay? So first up, so we've got some nice bread. By all means, feel free to use, this is quite nice bread, but you can get just standard bread. I would rather you go for a mix or a wholemeal style bread, just for flavour and nutrition. Fantastic, but by all means use whatever you want. I'm going to slice it the wrong way, so I'm going to get a nice long slice of it instead of a short one. So that is our receptacle here. So that's where the story begins. So Greece, I love Greece. I'm going to take some cliche flavours. We've got some feta cheese. I remember the first time I had feta cheese, and I was on the island of Cyprus as a kid, and I'd grown up on cheddar cheese, and I just thought, oh my Lord, this is just a different level. So we're very lucky, we get some amazing feta. Halloumi, which my kids are going mad for, and it's a very, very simple, basic cheese, a bit bouncy, a bit squeaky, but I think there's ways of treating it that are fabulous. Then there's kind of this narrative, this story about fruit and cheese, which is not chefy. So I'm going to give you this kind of, when I'm making a sandwich, I'm just trying to have fun. And my missus, Jules, loves it when I make her a really good, sort of thoughtful sandwich, loaded, delicious. So what I've done, come and have a look at this. I take dried apricots, standard, and if you try, you can just peel them in half. And then what you can do is take a little kind of pearl of feta, and you can stuff it. So you've essentially made a beautiful, fruity, savoury wine gum. And this is kind of, you know, it doesn't take any time, but it's just care, right? So just because it's a sarnie doesn't mean you can't care. So I've loaded these little dried fruits. There's no reason why you couldn't use other fruits. And also, we're in Greece emotionally. This is not a Greek dish, but emotionally I'm sort of riffing off of Greek flavours. And I think that the joy and the permission of you cooking your food at home for you, you know, it's your food. But you can take this to Italy. The peaches are really good right now. Mozzarella's really good. So we can kind of like, just have fun with that. So I'm gonna feta stuff apricots. I'm gonna grate like melty halloumi, and I'm gonna hit it with some herbs, and I'm gonna pickle up some little onions. So if you're not an onion lover, and my wife is not an onion lover, this technique is amazing for salads and sandwiches because it takes the kind of onioniness away, and the light pickle is incredibly quick, but it kind of gives you a real mild tang. So look, here's our little loaded apricots. Hopefully you kind of get that, and it's a little bit of fun. I'm going to take my 2 bits of bread, and I'm going to grate some halloumi. So I'm just going to take a coarse grater, you know, typical one like this, and I'll just grate halloumi as a kind of layer. That's your barrier. So by weight, this is not very much halloumi at all. But by grating it, you just kind of get nicer coverage, and it looks nice and generous. And that's going to be, there's a little bit of mint there, if you're wondering what that was. So there is that kicking off there. You move that out of the way.
Loads of Aussies watching, Jamie.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Love the Aussies. Coming back soon. Can't wait to come back. I never ever thought I'd get to Australia. As a kid, I never thought I'd ever get there. Just love it over there. So big love. But I'm very blessed. On Facebook and Instagram, we have an amazing mixed audience, which I love. The quick pickle. Let me just show you. Sorry, Stevie, you were going to ask me a question?
No, Switzerland, Germany, Egypt, loads of people watching from all
See,
over
this,
the world.
this is the joy. This is the joy. How lucky are we that we can cook, we can communicate, and we can share things. And there's all these different communities and countries around the world. Do you know what I mean? I think if, you know, food is such a wonderful thing to bring people together. I literally have the best job in the world. Quick pickle. So I'm using a red onion just because they're everywhere and they're rather amazing. You can coarsely grate it on a box grater, by the way. I prefer to get a little slither. So a mandolin is great, but use the guard. They're very dangerous. Knife skills are basic. So what we can do is we can pickle that. We can lightly pickle that. I'm going to use slightly too much salt, but hold that thought because most of that salt will go down in the drain. Use a nice vinegar or lemon juice if you want, and use these little fellas, your fingers, and we'll just disconnect all these little onions and we'll scrunch it. So the salt and the vinegar will penetrate the onions, and if you do this, you know, for a Caesar salad or a nice crunchy, creamy dressed salad, just a few finely sliced pickled onions like this are joyful, and they're not oniony, and you can actually pour away this vinegary, salty liquor, and you can put that in your pickle jar, or you can make a dressing out of that, or a marinade, by all means. But what we have here is a much milder onion now. We don't use too much, just a gesture. So there you go, a little bit of piquance. Does it make a difference? Yes. Is it delicious? Yes. Could you use shallots or spring onions? Absolutely. So look, we're making a toasty sandwich, right? You know, this ain't a meal. We're not trying to gastronomically take you to another planet. But if we're going to make a sandwich, should we make it good? Right. Should we surprise people? Yeah, nice idea. So we're going to take our little stuffed apricots, little bursting, you know, you've got the sourness of the feta, and you've got the sweetness of the fruit, the tang of the beautiful onions, and the kind of twangy funk of the halloumi, which I rather like. My kids go mad for halloumi, by the way. Then I've just got some herbs. Herbs, literally, I think I would give up cooking if there were no herbs in the world. So I've got mint and dill, and just be brave and in abundance. It's not there for garnish, it's not there to be cool, it's not there to be healthy, it's there because it's bloody delicious. So we're going to take our little sandwich, go back into sandwich world, and we're just going to flap it over like that, give it a nice little bit of weight, push it down, and I'm going to put it into a little pan here. I might give it a tiny kiss of olive oil on the bread, and in we go. This is the cheese toasty, by the way. So we're just going to put it on a medium heat. I don't really want to rush it. As you can see, there's enough space in the pan to do sort of 2 or 3 at a time, which is lovely. So we'll start to toast that. Just back into the pan here. If you imagine what's going to happen in that pan, you know, you want the halloumi to start to melt. We definitely do not want to rush this. If it's too hot, you're going to get too much colour too quick. The inside will be raw. So I want this to toast in about 7 minutes. So my gas hob is on fairly low.
Lydia Wells has got a book for her and her cousin.
Already?
Yeah. Well,
she pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Who's that, Lydia Wells?
Yeah.
Bless you. So while that's cooking, so Nothing's going to change there. You might as well come back to me because there's nothing going to happen in there for a little while. So that's going to do nice things. Don't rush it. There's a few things you can do. You can throw that together, or you can love that together. Do what you choose. So a dip, crispy, hot, surprising, oozy, mega cheese toasted, inspired by Greece. I want to dip it in something. So just in that kind of, again, sort of thinking tzatziki, which again is a sauce, a dip from Greece, the Middle East. It's very typical of that area. I want to show you a little hack that I think makes a difference, right? So we are blessed to have amazing yogurt, right? And I think one of the easiest trade-ups to organic. Organic still does baffle people. I think they think it's a rip-off, and of course there are differentials in price. But dairy is a really easy trade-up, and if you saw the two methods of production, you would definitely go for organic. And we've got this amazing yogurt, and of course in the book, so this is a vegetarian book, in the book probably, 30-40% is vegan, give or take, but I'd say the larger majority is easily veganable. So if you've got your replacement dairy sort of product, then you guys are really good at that already. But remember, I'm a meat eater, and I wanted to write this book to help people like my dad get more veggie options into their life. All the health benefits. I think even as meat lovers, lowering the amount of consumption and sort of maybe either saving money or buying better quality is just a game changer. So I want to show you a little hack that's quite interesting, inspired by one of the trips that I did in India, where they do a kind of hung yogurt for various little sort of dips and sauces. They use muslin, but this kitchen paper that everyone seems to have is quite cool. And you can just get your yogurt and you can just pour it in here. And what you can do is you can create more density and more intensity. So if you just think about the context, if you think about the actions of a tzatziki, we're taking like a yogurty product and then we're grating a cucumber, which is 95% water. So it's just going to get wetter and wetter and wetter. So if we're trying to amplify deliciousness, when you go on holiday and it's like, well, why doesn't it taste as good? And there's so many reasons, So when you put your yogurt in the paper, if you gather up the little bits like this, you can. I know that you people are busy, right? So maybe you haven't got muslin. I'm going to apply very gentle pressure, and hopefully I don't stitch myself up. Sometimes it bursts, but if I do very gentle pressure, very quickly you'll see liquid coming out, right? And what that's going to do is create a sort of more intense flavour, more curdy consistency. And with very gentle pressing for about 40 seconds, right, we can remove excess water, which means when we add the cucumber, we can really amplify the flavour. So can you see what's happening now? I don't know if you've got a close-up on that. So if you're ever doing any dips, herb dips, flavoured dips, even dressings, or just to kind of have some, if you get some good quality yogurt like this that you've kind of dried out and drained, if you put that on a plate, all plump and gorgeous with really good olive oil, even if you go to the West Bank area, sort of Palestine, those flavours, za'atar, olive flatbreads, oil, za'atar, it's just gorgeous. So I do this technique quite a lot.
Haley's asking, is that plain yogurt or Greek yogurt?
This is Greek yogurt, but to be honest, if you use plain yogurt, you essentially make Greek yogurt. We're just making it Greeker. So you can do this with any yogurt you like. So look, I've kind of finished doing that. If you look now, I'm going to apply more pressure now, and it will bust, but it will be intentional. Look at these beautiful plates. That's a friend of mine, Shed Ceramics. Look her up on Instagram. She makes a lot of our plates one-offs, because when we use plates on shoots, we get loads of people copying, which is charming but really annoying. So we just make our own plates now, give or take. So look, I will now push it too much and it will bust. So just have a look, it will bust, but we've removed quite a bit of water. See, it's come out now? So now what we've got is a much thicker, richer yogurt. And if you want to look what we've removed, look, that's what we've removed there. It's quite a lot, right? So, that said, now we're going to grate some cucumber. You can go fine or coarse. And I will lightly season this. And I will again squeeze the excess water out because I want to intensify flavour. Now, there may well be loads of people from the region, from Greece, that have their own method for tzatziki, and it may well be more authentic. It may well have more history. There is different styles of making tzatziki, and they'll use different herbs, sometimes fresh, sometimes dry. I've just seasoned it with a little salt, and again I'll squeeze excess water out because I want mega flavour, right? And then I'll just get some herbs in there. Any other questions, Sue?
Yeah, Anna's asking, can you use sour cream?
Yeah. Use sour cream, use yogurt, experiment, have fun. All you're doing, a large part, I think when you look at this book, if you want, when you use meat products, when you have, melting sinews or sort of caramelizing fats, and the marrow from bones that give you deep, beefy, incredible flavour. It's just a quick way to success. If you're removing meat from the equation, I wanted to write a veggie book that said that veggie was not a compromise, that veggie was normal, and if it's good, it's good, right? So to achieve good, it is often about intensifying, more caramelizing. So you'll find more focus on cooking methods, like don't rush it. So for instance, with soups and stews and ragouts in Britain, when I watch people cook, it's almost like people chop, they start to fry, and they cannot wait to get wet stuff in there. And then you end up eating a nice version of boiled stuff. What you've missed out on is like caramelization and more intensity. So that's what we've done here, in sort of metaphorically speaking, right? So, but yeah, feel free. Let me just check the sandwich.
Can you make the sandwich in a sandwich press, or does it need to be in the frying pan?
You can. It's probably even better in a sandwich press. It's just I haven't got one. So now I'm eyeing up this bread. I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Jasmine would like to know, do you absolutely have to strain the yogurt?
No, you don't have to. Jasmine, you do not have to strain the yogurt, and you do not have to strain the cucumber, and it will still be lovely with a few herbs and seasoning. And you can even go to the supermarket and buy tzatziki, and you don't have to do anything. My point, and the reason for the little hacks, and the reason I think you might do it, is because it just makes it bloody delicious. And it's like when you've made good hummus, and then you see the wallpaper paste that we all buy in the supermarkets. How can you compare? Why is it that we're so fine about a nice foam versus a brick? Or so, a nice pair of designer trainers, instead of green flash. You know what I mean? Like with fashion and with phones and with cars, we totally get the trade up. And by the way, everyone has their go at trading up. And then when it comes to food, we think everyone's trying to you're trying to mug me for time, you're trying to mug me for do you know what I mean? So food is no different than anything in life. So, bread can be cheap and it can be good, and it can be expensive and game changing. So go on your journey, do what you like. I try to be flexible, but to your question, you don't have to strain the yogurt. It was just for me, I've used that since I went to India and saw it, that was in India, but then I've come home as an English boy and I've started applying sort of similar techniques, and you just end up with better grub, tastier gear. So look, back to this.
Michelle is asking, when is the book out and has she missed it?
No, the book is out on the 22nd of August. Within 2 or 3 days, it's out in Germany, Holland, and Australia, and probably New Zealand. And then pretty much thereafter, other countries will sort of fall in. So I'm very lucky. We publish in 80 countries around the world. We broadcast in about 120 countries around the world. So it's amazing, but I kind of don't know what they're all doing at different times. So with the mint, have a look at this. I love mint. It's essentially a fantastic weed. And with all these fresh herbs, I do use a lot of herbs, but no matter where I've lived in my life, and no matter what budget I've ever cooked at, there's always been herbs. There's always been a herb box, a window box. Even when when I lived in a studio flat with no garden, I had window boxes, and then I used to go pruning in the local park So I'm just going to put the old mint in, and then we'll have a little. You can sometimes they do season this with a little lemon juice. I quite like that. Okay, I've turned the pan up. Any other questions, Sue Believes?
Yeah, aubergines. Any recipes for aubergines in the book?
Oh my God, yes. So you can see it. Can you see in the pan? Sorry. See how there's bits that are falling out. So we can use the bread as like a mop to mop up all the bits. Can you hear that? Get in there for some sound. Some snap, crackle, and pop is happening. That's what we want. And look, I know it's only a blimmin' sandwich, but I think it's nice to care. And maybe next time, I love brevels, man. Like making a brevel was always funny. It was so hot, wasn't it? Combos. People love toasted sandwiches. I think my wife is just as happy with a good toasted sandwich as like a fully fledged posh meal. We've got our dip there. You can see how much drier that is now. And on a personal preference, although not classic at all, you know, if you wanted to put a little, you know, sweet chili flakes in there, or I'm adding a little lemon juice, I think that's quite nice.
Daniel is asking, what's your best recipe in the book to convert a staunch meat eater?
I mean,
Get them to try more veg.
yeah, look, I mean, I think when I've written the book, I think I didn't want the book to be divisive. Although, you know, for the last 20 years I've really supported the veggie and vegan sort of movement. I'm a meat eater, and I just think that it never will be an on-off button. Everyone's going to have their own food journey. So in my head, I always had my dad, who, you know, as the person of his generation, always felt he had to have meat on the table to be a meal. So, you know, we started off the book with curries. So, you know, if we have a little look here, you've got the kind of katsu curries going bonkers. That crispy cauliflower, the flavours of that sauce is completely badass. This is kind of like Costa Rican inspired. It's the most amazing veggie chili, grilled and stewed. You know, textures, salsa. So that the same veg that make the stew also make the salsa. So we just, you know, we got like cauliflower tikka. We got this baked aubergine Southern Indian style dish is a game changer. I promise you that. I mean, I wrote these recipes, most of them about 8 years ago. We've got gumbo there, you know, all kinds of things. Like we've gone to sort of like Scottish, you know, Burns Night dumplings, just made up. So taking the flavours of haggis actually, and sort of putting it into a really gorgeous, you know, got mushroom stroganoff. You know, again, that's like a 7-minute meal, guys. 7 minutes. So, you know, there's lots of things there, but also what we've done is we have done like nice pies. We've done like little phyllo pies. We've got like essentially a version of a veggie Cornish pasty, and a method for mushrooms there to bring out meatiness, a massive flavour. Loads of aubergine dishes. This is a Yemeni pancake, which is a game changer. Yemeni style pancake. That is this flavour from this is just off the hook. So, you know, there's lots of stuff in there, and the allotment pie was one that my dad particularly liked, but inspiration from all around the world. So look, let me just turn the toasty. So I can kind of feel, now you know it's going to be nice on the inside. We'll turn that over, see how the crispy bits are looking kind of nice and good. If you want to, you can kind of, you can put a weight on top of the sandwich and you can kind of weigh it down. Just find something heavy. There you go. There's a book plug for you. So we've got that little dip. We'll be ready in like 3 minutes. Let's take some questions from the lovely
Charlie
audience.
wants to know if you could do this with a wrap.
What, you want me to wrap?
No, with a wrap instead of a sandwich, instead of bread.
You can. Yeah, you can. Look, these questions are all really good questions. You know, of course you can do it with a wrap, and it will cook quicker. You could turn this meal around in probably 3.5 minutes. You know, we've got like a thin, well, like sort of doorstep bread here, so you have to give it time to let the heat go through and let it go all woozy. But a wrap will be delicious. It'll be different, but it'll be delicious. But also you can kind of like take away the Greek element and you can kind of look at Spain, you can look at Portugal, you can just leap over to Morocco and use harissa, you know, and sort of little salted cheeses of the area. Do you know what I mean? Like gorgeous like tomatoes, like little quick pickled tomatoes instead of the, you know, you just have fun with it just use it as an excuse, and then ultimately, hopefully, you'll come up with combos that are wicked.
Are there any dessert recipes?
No.
Sweet recipes?
No, I've done no desserts. What we have is brunch. We've got some nice, really nice sort of like pancakes, waffles, and bits and pieces like that. But no dessert recipes, not because I don't love desserts. It's just you know, loads of desserts are already veggie and vegan anyway. So fill your boots. But maybe that's a different book at a different time.
Judith says hello from Southend-on-Sea.
Go on, Judith. Love a bit of Southend-on-Sea.
Tony was asking what pan are you using, Jamie?
What pan?
Yes.
These pans are from an interesting fellow. An interesting fellow. Don't know if you've ever heard of him before. I don't know. Do you know him? Yeah, it's Jamie Oliver. So I've worked with Tefal for about 17 years now, and I was able to design my own pans, shape my own pans, and I took them into stainless steel and did the professional series. It was the first time I ever did it. But essentially, I think on things like woks, pans, and griddle pans, that's where the kind of this is the hard anodized, which is sort of matted on the outside. Really, not, you know, the curve, the angle of the curve there is on purpose. You want to have the best technology and non-stick possible, and that pays dividends in sort of allowing you to use less fats, get crispy surfaces, and you want a nice handle. You've got the kind of silicone handle here, which is oven proof as well. So there's always little bits and pieces that help. But one of the biggest change, I mean, when I work in people's homes, one of the biggest things I notice is just just dodgy frying pans that kink and buckle and have hot spots is the most disruptive thing to your cooking, because it makes it so hard.
Should we add chilies to the sandwich?
You want to add chilies? Who said that?
Lost her name. Chilies and then gherkins is another one people want.
Chilies and gherkins. Okay, well we're going from Greece back to France or Essex. Let's have a look in the fridge. Chilies. Oh, I've got some sriracha. I mean, you know, fill your boots. I don't think I'm going to add it to this one, but fresh chilies I love. I think we're nearly there. Let's have a little look. So the humble cheese toasty taken to the next level.
Karen wants to know if there's a TV series.
Yeah, there is. So in the TV series, the TV series starts on the 2nd of September, and there is 8 shows, and we go all around the world looking at communities that really embrace veggies in sort of super cool, natural ways. And wait for the crunch. Go on, get in there. Wait for the crunch. Ooh, get in there. So that's what we want. A little bit of a sarnie with a difference.
I was gonna try the sandwich with Vegemite.
Yeah, Vegemite is always. I think Vegemite and stuffed apricots is an interesting phenomenon. But listen, it's your food journey. I mean, I'm a Vegemite lover, or Marmite as we call it. Each to their own. I think for me, like taking your time on the crispiness, stuffing the dried fruit is a game changer. It's like a little of joy. Like quick pickles is like a little, and kind of just drying out the yogurt. All these things. I mean, hopefully you can do what you want with that. That's the joy of cooking. So we got a nice little sarnie. We'll have our really nice tzatziki, which just with a knife, just load it on there. It's going to be delicious for our brother or sister. Who was it that suggested the chili? You lost it.
Yeah.
You've lost it. Well, whoever suggested the chili, this isn't a particularly hot one. You know, let's just fill your boots with chili. So there you go, brothers and sisters. That is a tasted sarnie with a difference.
What's
Go.
your favourite veg, Jamie?
My favourite veg.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite veg is it's a bit like saying who's my favourite child. It changes as time goes on, but I really love the pumpkin of the Zucca family. So just we tend to just get butternut squash in the supermarkets, but we're looking for a really dense pumpkin, and the flavours, the kind of texture, the flavour from the skins, the ability to use the seeds and the flesh, take it to any country in the world, I just love. But I think you might have seen recently on my feed on Instagram that massive big phallic zucca. I mean, like, you know, dudes, I mean, like, in Britain we have a limited supply. I grow about 40 every year, and they're bonkers. And what's beautiful is like their skins are like nature's most incredible sort of time capsule, because once you've grown them, sort of about now, they're becoming ready, and in the next month, you stack them up, and you get like 4 months easy. You'll be eating those into January, February. So they keep really well. So I love squash, pumpkin, zucca family. And then of course wild mushrooms, you know, with a mentor like Gennaro Contaldo, you know, when you've gone picking girolles and chanterelles, and if you go into forests around the country, you know, those old skills of mushroom picking we've kind of lost, but I do love it. Any other questions while I eat? I hope you don't mind if I eat, guys. So look, come and have a look in it. Get your little tzatziki.
Tony wants to know, which veggie dish did you feel was the most creative? That'd be a tricky one.
Yeah, they're all kind of creative in different ways, really. I mean, that's so good. Oh, excuse me eating the chomping. Forgive. The interesting thing is that as a chef, there's always this pressure to have to kind of like cook wow meals, and what I've really tried to do in this book is just wear my heart on my sleeve. I mean, I wrote it 8 years ago, and then I finessed it in the last year, reshot it in the last year, rewrote it and re-edited it. And really, I just wanted to create something which just wasn't up its own backside, you know. Be proud to make a soup and a sandwich. You know what I mean? Like if people love burgers and fritters, whack them in. Pastries and pies, get amongst it. Enough stuff in there that sort of ticks the boxes, but also enough stuff in there that's sort of trying to inspire you and maybe get you to try something new. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Have a look when it comes out. You can pre-order it now if you want. I'm sure we can put a link up or something like that to make it easy.
There's a link in the comments. What's the best recipe to cook with a kid from the book? With a child?
Well, if you look at the video from yesterday, me and Buddy do a little sunshine pasta that's to die for. Really simple, like 5 or 6 ingredients, 13, 14 minutes to cook. And I love it, my kids love it. So yeah, start with that. But you know, when I'm writing these books as well, you know, I'm testing them at home. So from complicated teenagers to, you know, erratic 8 and 10 years old, 10-year-olds, and even little River actually. Like River, every kid has their own little thing, but River tends to like anything crispy. So the main brief when cooking for River is make it crispy, and it could be anything inside, you know what I mean? So it's like every kid has their challenges, but c'est la vie, right?
Sarah Foster has just pre-ordered the book.
Bless you, Sarah Foster.
Griffin wants to know if there's a veggie lasagna in the book.
Yeah, there is. Let me just take a mouthful. But really good. If I find you, so there's 2 lasagnas. I wrote one for Ramesh Ranganathan. We love him. So I did a vegan one for Ramesh, and he's a famous comedian in the UK, maybe many other countries. But he said, like, he's been vegan for 6 years, and he's like, look, one of the things that makes me really upset is that I can't get what I had with a lasagna. So I literally tested that vegan lasagna recipe. I tested that for months, and we got there in the end, and we tested all the vegan cheeses and all that kind of stuff. And when I fed it to him, I believe he shed a tear. He was so happy. So I've done 2. I've got the vegan lasagna, which is very, very good, and is like a typical layered lasagna, and it's all about texture and deliciousness. I think you'll be very happy. But it's about the same amount of effort as usual, which is a fair bit of effort. Lasagnas aren't super quick, are they? And then I love the fact that I don't even know where my own recipes are in my own book. So I've just used the index. And then I wrote a recipe which is a scruffy lasagna. So let's use my index. Apologies, guys. I know you'd think that I'd zip straight to the page, but it doesn't quite work like that. Plus, I'm dyslexic and I can't. Here it goes. Scruffy aubergine lasagna 194. So come and have a little look at this. So this is a really nice one. So this is a wonderful actually my kind of like, although it's Italian in flavour, I was kind of taking influences from Morocco really when I was cooking the aubergines and using herbs and lemon. It's a joy to make. It's a joy to make, and I call it scruffy lasagna because it's a one pot wonder, right? So we make that's the vegan one. Thanks, Steve. That's the vegan one. More traditional, more layered, and we create an amazing white sauce by liquidizing mushrooms, and the depth of flavour is phenomenal. But on that scruffy lasagna, you literally one pot wonder, love, care, and then we just literally stir in the lasagna sheets. So it's kind of almost like the inside of a croissant, and it's delicious. So have a go on that.
Should we do one more question?
One more question, and then I should sit and eat my lunch.
Susan is asking, do you have all the nutritional information on
Yes,
the
okay.
recipes?
So about 5 years ago, I went back to school and I studied nutrition, and I got my qualifications, and here in the office in the test kitchen, I'm lucky enough to work with arguably four incredible nutritionists, and they're amazing. And good nutrition is about what you can have, not what you can't have. So on every single page, if I just show you every page, you'll see there's clear nutrition. We haven't hid it on the back, you know, it's right down the bottom. So you've got all your fats, sat fats, protein, carbs, you know, how many of your 5 fruit and veg a day, your gross calories. So it's all there. And then on the page as well, I've got a little helpful tip, which is about like how you can diversify or duck and dive or look at your fridge and kind of like twist the recipe. And then I've tried my best to kind of really embrace white space of the page, not talk too much, which is my normal problem. Just get to the point and help you guys cook and have good results. So here you go, guys. I hope you like these little cook-ups. They're kind of unofficial. Like, I'm really up for doing one every day if you like it. And when you're doing a cooking show, you know, there's a whole craft, and I work really hard to make sure we use the best cameras and lenses to kind of get you in the pan, and like I cut pans in half and get macro lenses from like natural history programs like in there. And it's just a different thing, and I hope if you like this, like I can just yak more, I can answer your questions, and it's a different vibe. So if you like it, let me know. If you like the idea of the book, feel free to pre-order it. I've never really done pre-orders before, but everyone seems to talk about it these days, which is great. But I hope you enjoy the book. The series is out on the 2nd of September, and it will be Monday. So thankfully from lovely Paul McCartney, bless him, and his late wonderful wife, Linda, Meat Free Monday, which they sort of launched, is quite normal now. So we're putting homage to our main man. Should have gotten to do the music actually. We've got some good music on the show as well. I think, is it 7 o'clock?
8.
Or is it 8?
8.
You sure? Yeah, I think it's 8. 8 o'clock, Channel 4, Monday nights. That's in the UK. And then like Channel 10 in Australia will follow, and all the other bits and pieces. So, all right, guys, I've got to crack on with work. Lots of love. Take care. I hope you're all really, really well. And yeah, enjoy. Get amongst it. And next time you have a little toasty, mix it up. Yeah, baby.